Guys, it is time for the next few chapters of James and the Giant Peach. Today we're going to be reading chapters 5 and 6. We have previously read in the first video chapters 1 and 2. Yesterday we read chapters 3 and 4, and today is 5 and 6. So we are going to kind of review a little bit of what we learned on the previous day. I'm going to give you some challenges and questions to answer by the end, and then you can comment below and tell me what you think. So yesterday, in the first two chapters, we learned a little bit about James and what his situation was with his parents and how he has to go live with his two terrible aunts. And yesterday, we found that James was having a pretty rough day, and he ran and hid. And when he did that, he ran into a strange man from the bushes who gave him those odd green moving mini crocodiles. And he was told to do something with them. He was told to kind of put them in a type of, I don't want to say potion, but a type of mixture. And if he did it, then lots of good things would happen to him. He was also warned that if he accidentally gave these to someone else, or someone else was able to find them, then they would reap the benefits of all of those magic crocodiles. Alligators? Crocodiles. So that's kind of where we're at today. So we're going to start chapters 5 and 6. And today I'm going to be asking you two questions to answer below. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can answer in the comments. If you're watching this on your Google Classroom, you can comment on Google Classroom as well. So the two challenges that I have, or questions that I have for you today, number one is I want you to listen for the word bulging. Bulging is the vocabulary word for today's reading, and when I'm done reading, I want you to tell me, based off what we heard in the text and the sentence that the word was in, what do you think that word means? So again, the word is bulging. I'll remind you again at the end of the reading, but keep your ears out, or keep them out, keep them listening for that word. The next question I'm going to ask you to answer is, did James end up picking the peach, and why, or why not? So this might sound a little strange because we haven't read what's happened yet, but the question is, did James end up picking the peach? Why or why not? So I will remind you of those questions at the end of the reading, but you should be listening for those as we read aloud today. Okay, so we're going to start at chapters 5 and 6. If you didn't get to hear the previous chapters, don't just jump in. Go back to the other videos. Watch 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. They're only about 7 minutes long, so that you're up to date with what we are doing. Okay, here we go. Chapter 5. The next moment, James was running back towards the house as fast as he could go. He would do it all in the kitchen, he told himself, if only he could get in there without Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker seeing him. He was terribly excited. He flew through the long grass and the stinging nettles, not caring whether he got stung or not, on his bare knees. And in the distance, he could see Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker sitting in their chairs with their backs toward him. He swerved away from there so as to go around the other side of the house, but then suddenly, just as he was passing underneath the old peach tree that stood in the middle of the garden, his foot slipped and he fell flat on his face in the grass. The paper bag burst open as it hit the ground, and the thousands of tiny green things were scattered in all directions. James immediately picked himself up onto his hands and knees and started searching around for his precious treasures. But what was this? They were all sinking into the soil. He could actually see them wriggling and twisting as they burrowed their way down toward the hard center of the earth. And at once he reached out a hand to pick some of them up before it was too late, but they disappeared right under his fingers. He went after some others, and the same thing happened. He began scrabbling around frantically in an effort to catch hold of what was left, but they were too quick for him. Each time the tips of his fingers were just about to touch them, they vanished into the earth, and soon, in the space of only a few seconds, every single one of them had gone. James felt like crying. He would never get them back now. They were lost forever. But where had they gone to? And why in the world had they been so eager to push down into the earth like that? What were they after? There was nothing down there, nothing except the roots of the old peach tree, and a whole lot of earthworms and centipedes and insects living in the soil. But what was it that the old man had said? Whoever they meet first, be it bug, insect, animal, or tree, that will be the one who gets the full power of their magic. Good heavens, thought James, what's going to happen in that case if they do meet an earthworm, or a centipede, or a spider? And what if they do go into the roots of the peach tree? Get up at once, you lazy little beast, a voice was suddenly shouting in James's ear. James glanced up and saw Aunt Spiker standing over him, grim and tall and bony, glaring at him through her steel-rimmed spectacles. Get back over there immediately and finish chopping up those logs, she ordered. Aunt Sponge, fat and pulpy as a jellyfish, came waddling up behind her sister to see what was going on. Why don't we just lower the boy down the well in a bucket and leave him there for the night, she suggested. That ought to teach him not to laze around like this the whole day long. That's a very good wheeze, my dear Sponge, but let's make him finish chopping up the wood first. Be off with you at once, you hideous brat, and do some work. Slowly, sadly, poor James got up off the ground and went back to the woodpile. Oh, if only he hadn't slipped and fallen and dropped the precious bag. All hope of a happier life had gone completely now. Today and tomorrow and the next day, and all the other days as well, would be nothing but punishment and pain, unhappiness and despair. He picked up the chopper and was just about to start chopping away again when he heard a shout behind him that made him stop and turn. That's the end of chapter 5. What do you think is going to happen in chapter 6? So he accidentally spilled all of the magic beans or magic green things. They went right into the earth by the peach tree. I wonder if you can predict what's going to happen in chapter 6. Sponge, come here at once and look at this. At what? It's a peach, Aunt Spiker was shouting. A what? A peach, right up there on the highest branch. Can't you see it? I think you must be mistaken, my dear Spiker. That miserable tree never has any peaches on it. There's one on it now, Sponge. You look for yourself. You're teasing me, Spiker. You're making my mouth water on purpose when there's nothing to put into it. Why, that tree's never even had a blossom on it, let alone a peach. Right up on the highest branch, you say? I can't see a thing. Very funny, ha. Good gracious me. Well, I'll be blowed. That really is a peach up there. A nice big one, too, Aunt Spiker said. A beauty, Aunt Sponge cried out. At this point, James slowly put down the chopper and turned and looked across at the two women who were standing underneath the peach tree. Something's about to happen, he told himself. Something peculiar is about to happen. Any moment. He hadn't the faintest idea what it might be, but he could feel it in his bones that something was going to happen soon. He could feel it in the air around him, in the sudden stillness that had fallen upon the garden. James tiptoed a little closer to the tree. The ants were not talking now. They were just standing there, staring at the peach. There was not a sound anywhere, not even a breath of wind, and overhead the sun blazed down upon them out of a deep blue sky. It looks ripe to me, Aunt Spiker said, breaking the silence. Then why don't we eat it? Aunt Sponge suggested, licking her thick lips. We can have half each. Hey you, James, come over here at once and climb this tree. James came running over. I want you to pick that peach up there on the highest branch, Aunt Sponge went on. Can you see it? Yes, Auntie Sponge, I can see it. And don't you dare try to eat any of it yourself. Your Aunt Spiker and I are going to have it between us right here and now, half each. Get on with you. Up you go. James crossed over to the tree trunk. Stop, Aunt Spiker said quickly. Hold everything. She was staring up into the branches with her mouth wide open and her eyes bulging as though she had seen a ghost. Look, she said. Look, Sponge, look. I'm going to read that chapter again because our vocabulary word was in there. The word was bulging, so I'm going to read that again. Stop, Aunt Spiker said quickly. Hold everything. She was staring up into the branches with her mouth wide open and her eyes bulging as though she had seen a ghost. "Look," she said. "Look, Sponge, look." "What's the matter with you?" Aunt Sponge demanded. "It's growing," Aunt Spiker cried. "It's getting bigger and bigger." "What is?" "The peach, of course." "You're joking." "Well, look for yourself." "But, my dear Spiker, that's perfectly ridiculous. That's impossible. That's... Now, wait just a minute. No. No, that can't be right. No, yes. Great Scott, the thing is really growing. "It's nearly twice as big already," Aunt Spiker shouted. "It can't be true." "It is true. It must be a miracle. Watch it. Watch it grow." "I am watching it." "Great heavens alive," Aunt Spiker yelled. "I can actually see the thing bulging and swelling before my very eyes." So I'm going to read that last sentence once again because our mystery word or our vocab word is in there also. "Great heavens alive," Aunt Spiker yelled. "I can actually see the thing bulging and swelling before my eyes." So that's the end of chapter 6. There were no pictures for chapters 5 and 6. But again, if you heard before, I want you to try and tell me what you think the word bulging means. And I also want you to tell me if James ended up picking the peach and why or why not. Why did he pick the peach or why did he not pick the peach? You can comment below if you're on Google Classroom. You can comment below if you're on YouTube. I look forward to reading your answers. I think we only had a few answers yesterday, so I'm hoping Google Classroom will let you answer a little bit easier than maybe YouTube will. So that was chapters 5 and 6. I can't wait to read the next ones on Monday, and I can't wait to read what you guys think about it. All right, talk to you soon.